Normal Williamson, and I will be answering compulsory question 4: how do you integrate technology, software, hardware, and online into my project? I'll be doing question 4 as a director's commentary. First of all, I'd like to say that we did all of our editing and post-production work as our group of 3, and it was all done through carousel editing. So in each lesson, we'd rotate every 20 minutes, editing roles, and also all used input from each other throughout the whole process. So we start off by all of our information of everyone in my group is at the front, which we just use the text option from Premiere Pro that was given. Here we have our production team logo, which we created using Canva. And to make our name, we also used a mixture of all of our names together. And the transition we got to have this on screen was from a transition from Premiere Pro, a dissolve, to fade out the previous text and fade in the new logo. And as you could just hear, we started to fade in the music that we had put before anything actually showed up to create a smoother transition, and then fade out the logo and then show the montage. This montage we created through CapCut, which allowed us to specifically make the video at a certain length that we needed it to be to fit our voiceovers. It was just easier for us to do it this way than through Premiere Pro and have more hassle of videos. And I think in the end it proved out definitely in our favour that we had just put another video over the top, as we did a lot of reshooting, a lot of our stuff that could have overcomplicated it.
Not in need of much interaction.
So as you can see here, we have our first title card, which is our production name. And to get the font that we wanted, we used dafont.com, which as we had to pick a very specific font that we wanted, we had to prioritize in finding the right one rather than the ones that Premiere Pro offered. So we downloaded that piece of software so we could just use the font in Premiere Pro. So we downloaded it to the computer and then on Premiere Pro, so when we exported it, obviously, you could see the font that we had picked.
Definitely not drunk.
And we faded in and out all of our title cards throughout the whole thing to make it a much more softer transition, as it mimics the same look through the sounds that we are getting as well. And yeah.
I'm stuck now and I'm not getting out.
Also, I've done a voiceover that went over the top of the whole 2-minute clip in different sections, and this was done on a recorder, like a microphone, which then we could put the SD card into the Mac and then upload them as MP4s and put them into Premiere Pro to sync up with our film.
Suddenly, everything I didn't need was now an addiction.
As you can see, there was quite a harsh stop to our montage to then transition into this, and you can hear that same harshness comes with the fading in of the hospital beeps. We found the hospital beeps just on YouTube, and then we converted that into an MP4, which we then could upload to Premiere Pro and put into our project. We had the piece of text here, London present day. This was also done in Premiere Pro, but the font was also come from dafont.com. And the same process we did with the title cards, we did with this, as well as the lack of saturation that is going on with this time frame. This was all done, and the color matching all done through Premiere Pro, which was really useful. The fact that we practiced beforehand on our Have You Fed the Fish task with color matching. So this whole process to make it a cinematic feel was a lot easier.
Hello? Where are you? You need to come here now.
My parents are good people, but very introverted, especially.
And here you can see the transparency. This we had done on Premiere Pro as well, and we had previously done in the last 15 seconds as well. They're just an overlay of images, which we had done through post-production.
We have a lot of money. Yeah, I'm not really sure where it came from.
We had to play around a lot with levels and making sure that the voiceover wasn't too overpowering for the hospital beeps, and hospital beeps weren't too overpowering for the voiceover, which we all managed to do through Premiere Pro and was a very easy and satisfying process for us to measure out, as it really is a tying in factor in what making our film the outcome it was.
Don't tell me how to mother my own child.
We then jump cut very quickly to our new time frame, which has colour and quite a lot of oversaturation, which you're about to see. And this was all done through Premiere Pro as well. But we did previously do a few test shots on Photoshop, as we needed to get a bit more familiar with the process of doing that, as it wasn't as easy as just desaturating an image, and we needed it to go across a few seconds of footage for them all to marry up. So we did practice that beforehand. So you could hear the track by Dino Lenny in the background, which we did research into for the time period of the late 80s, and we found that track on YouTube, which we then converted to an MP4, so then we could upload it onto Premiere Pro and match it up with our sequence. And obviously you can see here the oversaturation that I was previously talking about, and just the colour balancing of images.
I moved to uni at the start of the year.
We then go back to a very low music that we had previously had at the beginning of the video. It was the same Frank Ocean track, just a different part of it. We used this to kind of marry up the timelines and be a bit clearer on what was going on and where and everything.
And that's where things started to go wrong. The bubble.
For these shots and for a few of the shots previously, we had used a tripod, as there were a lot of handheld moments, as it was fitting to what we were trying to get across. However, we did use a tripod that gave it this very closed off and kind of structure to it, that was very useful and fitting to our storyline.
Rat disappeared. And suddenly, I was exposed.
For this part of our opening 2 minutes, with the very harsh beat of the monitor, and we wanted to flip different shots very, very quickly, it came in very useful that we could expand and really look at the sound on Premiere Pro and where it spiked, so we knew the time of each shot and how they had to be placed and where they had to be placed on our timeline, which thankfully wasn't as difficult as we thought it was going to be because of the advantages of Premiere Pro, and luckily we had experience with matching sound and visuals together.
And vulnerable.
So here we enter a new kind of scene, and on this establishing shot in the background there is the sound of and the atmosphere of cars going by, which eventually fades into our next bit. I will say this sound was very difficult to properly merge all the scenes together, as we were taking all of the videos in very different distances to the road. So what Premiere Pro allowed us to do was extend the sound from other scenes and use the visuals from another, so that all of the different shots actually married up a lot better, and made the whole transition a lot smoother. And we faded in and played with the levels on all of the different bits to really create that atmosphere that in actual fact we didn't get when we were shooting. The zooming in, that was all done in production and through the camera rather than in post-production, and using a transition or a video effect.